Hey everyone, my name is Kelly. I am a Girls and Geese ambassador for Southern California. Welcome to Ask a Black Belt. Before we get right into it, I'm super excited that today we're going to talk with a phenomenal black belt. Her name is Miss Nora Mora. Let me bring her on in. Welcome.
Hi. All right, we're on.
All right, everyone, this is Miss Nora Mora, 10th Planet Black Belt. How are you today?
So far, so good. It's been a great day, busy, but
I love
good.
it.
This is
So,
how I like it.
without further ado, let's just jump right into it. 10th Planet Black Belt. Now, have you been with 10th Planet this entire jiu-jitsu career for you?
Yeah, so we started there and then 10 Planet Oceanside, and then and then San Diego, 10 Planet San Diego now, so it's always just been 10th Planet, which is awesome. All I know is the no gi. I mean, you were there when I put on the gi for the Girls in Gi event. I didn't even know how to tie my
For those
belt.
of you that don't know, we
So
recently
it's
had an
always
event
just been
here in
me.
San Diego in which Nora graciously came and joined us, and it was a gi event. And it was just kind of funny. All of a sudden, I look over and Ollie's trying to tie a black belt. He's like, I don't know how to tie my belt.
I know. Ale had brought me a gi. I said, "Girl, can you help me out? I don't got a gi." And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, but you guys helped me definitely tying
So,
my
with
belt.
that in mind, so was that the first time you'd ever trained in a gi?
No, I think that was like I remember I put on the gi the first time because Rita Lynn, she had
Yeah.
invited me to an open mat and she brought an extra gi. So I think that was like my fifth or sixth time putting on the gi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely
Very
different
different.
world. But it's
Yep,
still
those
fun. It's
grips
fun.
are something that are to not be taken lightly.
No, my fingers like were
So let
hurting for the next
me
two
ask you,
days.
coming up through the 10 planet system, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's all no gi. It's a very different style of technique, right? So coming up and looking at that, what are some of the differences that you've noticed in 10 planet versus like more traditional gyms? Like any kind of the
Oh my
techniques
goodness.
or submissions? Do you find that there's a little bit more like guard playing in it?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Especially, I mean, Richie, like all the guard and all the rubber guard and just all these all sneaky submissions, So it's definitely more not like
Mhm.
the traditional, I guess, like it has just the 10 planet system just has all these crazy techniques. And, I'm really lucky I get to learn from Richie and learn all these cool guard stuff and more like
Yep.
newer stuff, I
More
guess.
so new school than old
So
school.
it's
So it was Richie the one that got you into jujitsu?
To go with him, and I just sit and watch him train, and like we go back to the apartment and he would just like drill the move on me, and I just really didn't care,
Mhm.
because back then, like, because I was like started 2011 and there wasn't that many women back then, I think there was only one other woman at the gym at that time, and I would just sit there and watch him like, I don't
Yeah.
want to roll around with men, but just from watching him, I eventually was like, okay, I gotta jump in and do this, and I did, and I got hooked.
So, I mean, especially with
I
there
hooked
being,
up.
I mean, you fight at some of the lightest weights out there, right? So, rolling, especially
Yeah.
2011, right? Looking back to how the evolution of women's jiu-jitsu, looking back to, let's say, white belt, blue belt, how was it rolling? Like, were the majority of your partners men? Did you have any females in your classes?
It was mostly men. I would have two, there would be like two women. Sometimes just one, but it was mostly just men, men with my training partners, Sometimes I would Jill
Yep.
Baker, she would have like those women open mats, and I think she still does them all around. And I would, every time she would have one in Southern California, I would definitely go and try to find women to roll with and stuff like that. Cause yeah, it's great rolling with men, but I just love being able to roll with women, Like, so I'd always go out and look for like women training partners. But yeah, mostly when I started, it was just all men. Even competitions, you know, it was like there was your women. So it was definitely, now there's just like everything, you know, like they have rooster weight now, they have like everything now, you know, so many weight classes now for
For
women, you
sure.
know, it's grown so
Oh,
much.
oh, absolutely.
So it's
So thinking back to that,
awesome.
so back to, you know, white belt, blue belt, which is funny in itself since it's no gi. But thinking those early years of training, now with how the evolution of no gi, right? We have ADCC, we have all of the submission only type of events, the combat jujitsu, right? It's forever evolving.
Yeah.
How do you think the no gi game has changed from your earlier couple of years versus now?
Oh my God, so much, you know, like, because now it's like have so much like only and like all these big, right? Like even the leg locks whole everything has, you know, you got to jump on, because I didn't start learning leg locks till I was like a purple belt, I believe, you know, like, so it's like now with all these new like ADCC and like everything, it's like you definitely gotta like oh my God, I like totally spaced
So
out,
with the leg
girlfriend.
locks, now let me ask, are you a leg locker? Do you play leg locks?
No, you know, I do play legs, and I feel like my leg locks are okay. You know, they're good, they're decent, you know, but I'm more of a like, I like choking and like, I'm more of a let me squeeze your neck, you know, I like that, you know, like the legs that if somebody engages with me in the legs, yeah, I'm okay with going there, you know, but I would rather choke somebody, you
All right, so
know.
what's your favorite submission? What's our favorite? What do you feel like?
My favorite, you know, the first submission I ever
Okay.
landed was a triangle, and that's just been like my top, like, boom, submission, you know? And it's either like a triangle or I love anything with darces or a Japanese necktie, which is so funny because, you know, that's Richie's like main thing are darces. He loves darces, and like you learn from your coach, and I just love darces and I love
Right.
triangles. But yeah, I would
So
probably say a
not
triangle.
just choking, not just
So
yeah, not just the
basic, but
chokes,
I
but
love
let me
them.
choke you without even using my hands.
Yeah,
I like it.
exactly.
So recently you had just competed, right, in an IBJJF Open here in San
Yeah.
Diego. Yeah, how did that go for you?
Yeah. You know what? It was the first time having to cut weight, so that was like I definitely give it up for people now that go through that whole cutting weight, because I've never had to cut weight. I've
Oh,
always walked around at 100 pounds. But then after I had my son, I gained 60 pounds, and then I kind of went back to my natural weight, kind of. So it was my first time cutting like 9 pounds, you know, and but my opponent for my weight class didn't show up. So I was like, well, I have to get a match in. So I was able to do the absolute division, you know, and that girl I went against, I think her name is Lillian, and she's a beast. You know, she wins everything. Like I ran into her, I met her in Santa Cruz Open, and when I saw that we were gonna go first round, I was like nervous, but you know what? I knew, I was like, okay, the night before, you know, I've been trying to really work on my mental like game, you know. So the night before I like wrote down in my journal like I was gonna win my match, you know, and I wrote down like submissions I wanted, and I ended up hitting the triangle, you know, like so it was a great match, and it was a special match because like for me like a win because it's my first one
okay.
at black belt, you know, because this was like my third competition at black belt, and like my other matches I've lost, you know, by points and stuff. So it was great to get that win, and it was like a crazy win too. So it was a good one. It was a good first win for me. So it was a great experience, you know, and the whole like it came with so many emotions because it's like I was excited, but I was also nervous for my friend, you know, like the girl I went against, because I do know her, you know. So I was just like, I want to be happy, but are you okay, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. Yeah, it was
Well,
fun. I'm glad I got to
well, you
go out
had
there
that
and
first time
compete.
you had a weight cut, and then now you're competing against someone who you know is reputable and a strong opponent, and it can be very nerve wracking. Now, have
Yeah,
you competed against people you know or
yeah,
are friends with before?
Yes, I think I've gone against Rita like a couple times in competition. You know, I do her hair, you know, we're friends. So it's like, okay, we're gonna compete, you know, like yeah, I've gone against people I've known. So that's always like, okay, here we go, you know, but at the end of the day, it's all love and we're friends, you know? So it's like, it's a, you know, it's so many people do, but at the same time, it's such a small, you know, a lot of people, a small community. It's like, you already know you're going to run into this
Sure.
person in competition, you know, like it's going to happen. So there's really no hard
Oh, for
feelings. We got to give each other
sure.
a good match, you
And
know? So
yeah,
it's
shout
always
out to
fun.
Rita, Rita
Yeah.
D'Alba, who is a fierce competitor. So for you to compete along the sides with her, you
Hmm.
know, and still be able to be friends and everything afterwards,
Yeah.
it says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. She's great. I actually going to do her hair on Sunday.
That's how jiu-jitsu works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So this last tournament was
Yeah.
more of a bracket. I mean, you had one match, but it was more of a bracketed tournament. Do you
Yeah.
prefer bracketed tournaments versus? I know you've done a couple of submission only events. Which one do you feel?
Mhm.
Are you more excited about, or more nervous about? Anything like that?
Um, I like competing in kind of like all the rule sets, you know, like IBJJF, anything point system. I'm not that great at because I feel like it's always like in the back of my head, you know. So if I can do just like, I guess, just all submission and only, I would rather choose that, you know. That's just more my game, you know, because I don't have to worry about like, am I? Because I mean, even this last match, I was already down 2 points in the beginning, you know. So it's like I'm just not that great at those ones. I'd rather do
Get
just
right to
all
the choke, right?
submission, you know. Yeah, get into the chokes.
I like it. So how many times do you think you've competed over the years?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
A lot, a lot. Oh my, you know, I actually took a really long break from my last competition was
Okay.
at Purple Belt, Nogi Worlds. And then I trained really hard all through my brown belt, but then I got pregnant. So that was a big gap in between. But I don't know, I've had like probably like
Totally.
50 matches or more, you know, like I've competed a lot. I competed a lot at blue belt. I really didn't compete too much at white belt, which I felt so like, I always tell the girls, you know, enjoy the belt you're in and like do as much as you can in that belt, because I always feel like, oh, I wish I would have
Yeah.
done more as a white belt, you know, or like a blue belt, you know, because I feel like I could have done more in those belts, but you know, but
Yeah.
I have competed a lot, a lot. You know, I've lost a lot, I've won a
So
lot,
do
so
you feel that
it's a
is
good
true what they
mix.
say? Either you win or you learn?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, because you know you win and it feels great, but those losses, you know, you go home and you know, at least for me, I'm watching those videos and trying to study and like trying to be better for my next match or like work on those mistakes. You know, so you
Do you think
definitely learn.
do you think that
You know, you
competing,
got to go back.
do you think everyone should compete? Do you think it's necessary in jiu-jitsu?
I always tell the girls, I feel like you should at least once go out there and compete so you can feel what it is and like just like everything that comes with competing, you know, the preparation, the everything, the mental, the just going out there and doing it, you know. But we have a lot of students that, you know, that don't want to compete, and it's fine, you know, but like I always try to push at least do one, you know, see, because sometimes you'll get
Yep.
the bug and then you're just like, you know what, I want to do it again, you know. So I don't like really pushing my girls, but some like the ones that are like starting, but there are some that are like, yeah, let's do it, you know. So I'll really push that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I always tell them at least do one match,
Maybe
see
it's
how you
not
like
nearly
it,
as
you
scary
know.
as you think it is.
Yeah, you know, and especially when you have your teammates and the support, it just feels so great, you know, like you're like, oh yeah, I do have like a good team that's behind me and coaches, you know, so it's just a great feeling, you know, because
Yeah.
we're going to be proud of them no matter what, you know. So I feel like everybody should at least go out
Fantastic.
there
Yeah.
once,
So,
you know.
um,
Yeah.
in regards, you said you didn't really compete a whole lot at brown belt because you have that beautiful baby boy of yours. So, how has
Yeah.
jujitsu kind of changed since pregnancy, since coming back to the mats? Is your body different? Is it your game different? Your preparation?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it definitely, like it took me. I was actually able to teach till I was like I think I was like 28 weeks, almost 30 weeks pregnant, and I was still teaching, but I had the baby, and it took me a while to get back into onto the mats to train, because like after having the baby I just felt so nervous of people just like me getting squished, and like I had to switch my game around because I played a lot of bottom, and I was like, I don't know what it was. I just felt like
Yeah.
my body definitely changed, like, and I was so nervous coming back, because it's like, you're gone for a long time and people were like, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to welcome you back, so I had to switch my game totally, and not be more of a top player for a while, because I was just
Smash.
nervous of getting my stomach smashed or just anything like that. But yeah, it was kind of like a hard transition coming back, because I just felt like I had for like I didn't know what my game was no more. Like I was like, what do I like playing? What
Yeah.
do I want to do? I just felt like I was so lost. Like because it's like I felt like I lost. How they say sometimes you lose yourself after becoming a mom, and I just like I felt like that when I came back to jiu-jitsu. I was like, what do I like doing? What do I, like, so I totally did have to change my whole game up, and it was hard, but I don't get to train as much no more. I used to go 4 classes a day, every day, just being in there every day. And now it's like I'm there the days that I teach, and sometimes on Wednesdays, so I miss being a gym rat, I miss being in there, but at the same time, I tell myself, it's okay. The gym's always going to be there. I know when Jonathan gets a little bit bigger, it's going to be easier for him to hang out and do jiu-jitsu with Richie while I train too, So it's a good little break, because it makes me miss it, even more when I go back to training. So it's good.
Sure. Well, and then
Yeah.
especially with your husband Richie, and you guys have a great program over there at 10th Planet San Diego, and I'm assuming he's very supportive of your jujitsu and kind of bouncing back. It sounds like motherhood and pregnancy. It's like a little bit of a reset button. And everybody's different,
Yeah.
especially post pregnancy. So, how did he support you getting back to the mats afterwards?
Oh, he definitely did, because I actually I had a hard postpartum, and I just didn't even want to go to the gym. I just didn't, I don't know, I just wanted to be in my bubble, and he's like, no, go to the gym, like, being around people and just being there, it's going to help you. And he definitely pushed me to like go back. He's like, just go and sit and watch, and but he's always been really supportive, like making sure I was okay and going to the gym, and like even like with my training, when I have competitions coming up, because I told him this year I really want to compete a lot, so he's like, he knows Wednesdays or certain days, he's like, okay, you go to the gym this time and that, I'll watch the baby. So he's always really good about making sure I get my training in, especially if I have events. So he's always been really supportive, or if I'm not like, if I'm slacking on like, going out and running or doing what I need to do, like, he's like on it, even especially with his last weight cut, the first weight cut, he's like, you're not hungry, you're fine, I'm like, I know. Because he's done it so many times, so I was just like, I really want that pan, but he's like, no, you don't need it, but he's always been really supportive, really, really supportive with my jiu-jitsu like journey, which is great. It's tough on me, but great, because sometimes I need that, like, get it together.
Do you feel like he's,
so
especially being, you're now a black belt, but you're as his husband, your wife, you as his wife, do you feel like he's tougher on you than some of the other kids?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. 100%. Like, and this is the talk we have often, because I'm always like, and it's, we've been together 13, 14 years. I don't know. It's been a long time, so he started a little bit before me on jiu-jitsu. So he's always, been there to help me. And then like he started teaching at like
Okay.
blue belt or something, so I would be like, nah, and he, so I had to get used to him being my coach and like separate that from like husband and like coach, but yeah, he's always been like really like hard on me, and like, what are you doing? You need to fix that technique. Or like when we roll, like he's lecturing me the whole time, but I know he does it because I know he expects a lot from me. He knows I can do better, you know? So, but it's hard, but I've learned to be like, okay, you know, like he's doing this because he loves me, you know, but I guess we need that person, you know, to like tell you like, hey, you're doing this wrong, or you need this, or you need to be doing this better, you know, but it's gotten easier,
That's
you know?
fantastic. So do you guys get to train together? Like, do you guys roll? Because it seems like, I feel like in my experience, I see couples are either they can roll and train together and they're fantastic, or some of them, they're like, you know, they go into like husband and wife mode and they're maybe like bickering, or maybe they don't quite roll or train together very well. Do you guys fall into either one of those extremes, or do you?
No, we actually like, when I was like a purple belt, I used to train with him often, and I mean, he would go hard on me. I remember when I did ADCC, like back in the trials, like I would train with him often, and he's a big guy, you know. Like, I mean, I'm only 100 pounds, but he don't have no mercy, you know. He beats you up, you know. But then I took a really long break from training with him because the like him being like, you're not doing this right or stuff, and I'd be like, I can't do it, you know. But recently we've been actually rolling more. I mean, he just beats me up. I can't get past his legs. But yeah, we do get to train, especially on Mondays when we do live EBI rounds, you know. We do get to train a lot with that. So it is fun, you know, because I do try my hardest to choke him. So it's good. Like, it's fun that we do get to keep it.
So when you guys get to train together, now you are teaching, you've been teaching since purple belt, from what I understand. Okay. So what's the best part of that? What's your favorite part of teaching?
Oh my God. Seeing the new girls come in, you know, I love seeing how like excited and nervous they are, you know, and just guiding them through it. I love it. You know, I love teaching. You know, I remember when they asked me to teach, I was like, oh my God. I mean, I know the technique. I know technique, but it's like delivering it, right? And it took like about a couple months to me feel like, all right, this is what we're doing, you know, and just being like, we're doing this. But yeah, I love getting the new women in there and like, like when they stick with it and seeing the progress of them, or them seeing them roll, because I tell them I watch everybody roll, you know, all the ladies roll, and like just seeing them like get things together, pieces together, and like hitting a submission, or then be like, oh, did you see me do this? It's just like excites me, you know, like it makes me so happy to have that program, you know, because like, you know, they're learning how to defend themselves. They're learning, you know, meeting people, working out. It's just a great thing. I love it. It makes me super happy. It's like literally Mondays and Fridays are like my favorite days, you know, because I get to be around my girls and get to see their progress.
And especially, it's more than just jiu-jitsu, right? It's a community. It's like a social skills for a lot of people. That's what social, their social agenda, or their social skills. So that's fantastic. So anything coming up soon? Any tournaments, any super fights, anything on the radar?
I know for sure December I'm doing Nogi Worlds, but I do want to get like 1 or 2 tournaments in, so I'm gonna try to keep my eye out to see what I can do. But for sure, Nogi Worlds it's on my radar, you know. So that's for sure, and it's like 4 months away. So I'm already like thinking about that, which is crazy, you know. But hopefully I can get one more tournament.
That's fantastic. So any last words? So any advice to, let's say you have a new female student, or any student just in general, any advice to someone who's just stepping onto the mat? They have those big eyes of, oh my goodness, what am I doing? What would be your advice to them?
Yeah. I always tell them, you know, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Have fun. You know, we're here to have fun and learn, and just go with it. You know, like I always tell them, like, it's okay if you don't get the technique right away. And it's like, you know, jiu-jitsu, we're rolling around the ground. I'm like, how often are you doing that in the daily basis? You know, I'm like, just take your time. We're going to have fun. And that's really what it is. Like, you want to have fun and enjoy what you're doing, you know, like don't put so much stress on yourself, and, you know, like we're all going to learn and grow together. You know, so it is great, you know, having new people come in and they're like, oh man, what am I doing? I'm like, just keep
breathe. It's kind of important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one because you'd be like all excited.
Lovely. So wonderful. Well, I appreciate your time getting to chat with us. For all of you tuning in, keep an eye out. Nogi Worlds. That's Vegas this year, right? Yes.
Yeah,
So
which is exciting.
stay tuned for Nogi Worlds. You can always catch Miss Nora Mora there. Any last thoughts you'd like to leave with us?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was fun. It's first time doing something like that, so I had a great time. But keep training, everybody.
Well said. Well said. And
Keep
thanks for all you
training.
guys tuning in. We do appreciate it. Like I said, this is a phenomenal opportunity to see these amazing women like Nora in the community who are doing this balancing of motherhood and family and teaching and training and working. And she is definitely one of those gems that can definitely handle it all somehow. Not really sure, but somehow she does.
It's wild, right?
I love it. All right. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nora. Thanks everyone watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.